Well, we're now about to go into what we call the Chrysallis section of our meeting, where we share stories that are very personal about practicing the values that we have. And everybody take a look at this. This is a list of all the values and also what we call the 12 common needs. And this is just, I know there's a lot on this page, and that's why each month we choose one value. This month, the month of July, is empathy. And what we're going to do is we're going to break up into small groups of 5 or so, and each of the groups will have a facilitator. And it's very simple. We're going to share stories. Each of us will get an opportunity to share stories around how we have been able to demonstrate or practice empathy. And it's much more meaningful when sharing a story that you really try to stay in your heart, from the I. Like, this happened to me. This is what I felt. So you kind of like give a background to the story about your life. And then you continue with the story. It continues talking about something very personal. And the types of stories are just, it's endless. It could be a family story, it could be at work. Empathy could involve yourself. You could have empathy directed at yourself. You could have empathy directed at others, but you could also have empathy coming from others to you, where someone had empathy for you. So there's like 3, and there's probably more possibilities. And please, let's remember, when we're speaking from the I, this happened to me, this is how I felt. Sometimes we might kind of go into the intellectual realm, where we end up actually talking about empathy intellectually. Remember, this is not a conversation in a traditional sense. This is just individual sharing with space between the sharing, with no crosstalk or dialogue. And that is the beauty of this. It makes it so powerful that we're able to share in this deep and meaningful way. So why don't we do this before we go into the breakout group? Let's just share again in a popcorn fashion, just if something comes to you. There are no experts. We could look into a dictionary for the definition of empathy or another value, but we all have a sense of what it means to us. And as we share that before we go into the small group, it'll create some alignment around what we're talking about. So what I would like to do is open this up for like one word. When I say empathy, state one word, what it means to you, or a sentence, but not a discussion. We're not going to have a discussion here because we don't have the time. So please think of that. So when I say empathy, does someone have like one word that comes to mind, or a sentence?
Deepest part of understanding.
What?
The deepest part of understanding. Anyone else like to
Unity.
share? Unity.
Would compassion fit in it?
Compassion.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Anybody else?
Feeling what the other person is feeling.
Feeling what the other person is feeling.
Overcoming the ego.
Overcoming the ego. Andy?
It's
Okay.
busy.
Love. Okay, love.
Wearing someone else's shoes
Being able to wear someone else's shoes
or trousers.
or trousers. Well, that's getting very personal stuff. That's getting very personal. Anybody else? Anything brief? Okay, so I'm really glad that we were able to share, because now we're starting to create resonance around this idea that's so powerful. And this is kind of like I would call it spiritual democracy, where we're not looking to experts to define things for us. We, the people, we are defining this as we feel. So we're now going to go into the breakout groups. There are 2 other facilitators. I'm going to facilitate one group. Casey is facilitating another, and Janet the third group. One group will be here in this living room. The second group will be upstairs. The third group will be in the dining room. And right now, why don't we just do this? We'll count off, I guess 1 to 3, starting with Gladys.
Me. 1, 2.
3.
John, you're 4.
There's
Miss
3.
One.
1.
Pass
Back
it,
to 1.
John.
John is 1.
Thank you.
Is
Two.
he 3?
Peggy's 2.
1, 2, 1, 2.
2,
Drei.
3,
1, 2.
and then
No,
actually
3.
3. There'll be a quiz. There's a quiz later.
Yeah, this is a
You're 3,
this is a test.
1, 2.
1, 2.
and I think we're back. Okay, so I'm going to be 1, and I'm going to be in here. You're 1. You're with me, Gladys. I'm 1. Janet is 2. So if you're a 2, you're going to go upstairs. There's already chairs. And then if you're a 3, go with Casey to the dining room. And what we're going to do, what's the time right now, folks?
7:20.
7:18.
Wow, we're doing really good. So we're going to take 30 minutes. 30 minutes, and I'll check in to give you guys a timing.
Thank you.
Okay, so the ones stay here. And let's tighten the circle a little. And if you could stop that, Andy.